I think seeing your face moving out of sync with your sounds is better than not seeing your face at all.
It's bringing me a lot of joy. I've never seen your face before.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to WayTooBroad, a place for friends to talk about things they're really, really ridiculously excited about. This is episode 50. That's why. I'm Hannah, and these are my co-hosts, cheerer number 1, Aaron, and cheerer number air horn, Ben.
Wait, too broad. I like your cadence on that.
Horn.
We're going to count from 1 to air horn today.
So welcome everybody to our special 50th episode where we're going to talk about whatever we want, just like always. But like we're going to do a little bit of a retrospective of all the stuff that we're like, that we've, I don't know, that we like. So do we have upfront stuff though? What are we drinking?
I've got a whole freaking list of upfront stuff you won't even believe.
All right. It's a Silly Friday episode of WayTooBroad. It's the late Silly Friday.
It's a late.
I want to set the tone also. None of us are in our usual recording locations. This is a very special episode for many reasons. So Ben and I are actually in the same house, but we're not in the same room because we don't know how to set up audio that won't echo in the same room. And we had like a headphone issue. So
we're professionals.
So I'm upstairs and Ben's downstairs in our parents' house. And then Aaron, you want to tell us where you are?
I'm in Lesbian, Maryland, which is the place where my wife grew up. So she is a lesbian, and I'm an honorary lesbian because I'm married to her. But it's beautiful. It's right on the Chesapeake, and we're gonna go crab picking tomorrow. So We're here to celebrate. Molly's birthday is Wednesday. Her dad's birthday is Monday. So we're here to just eat a bunch of crabs.
Happy birthday to Molly, fam.
Shout out.
Happy birthday, Molly and Molly's dad. What's his name?
Shout the frick out.
John?
Huh?
Just call him John. Happy birthday, John.
It's Mark.
There's no way to know.
There's no way we can't find out.
Yeah.
Well, it's Mark. So,
that's your best guess. My best guess was John.
They're both equally likely. So,
well, but it is Mark. So,
sure.
This is also the last episode that we will all be recording in the same time zone, at least for a while.
Oof. Yeah,
that's true.
This is Ben's last week on the East Coast.
Yeah. And it's just gonna be real interesting because we've been totally flying by the seat of our butts in terms of scheduling, like in general.
Wait. Yeah. Your butt is a seat.
Well, that's why it's been working out okay.
Seat of your pants your butt?
The seat of your pants.
Is the expression flying by your butt?
No. Yeah, you're right, because the seat of your pants, because your pants cover a lot more area. So the seat of your pants is your butt. Right. So flying by your butt. Okay, you know what? I withdraw my objection and I'm giving that to you.
Because I don't like pants, okay? But like, what does that mean? Flying by the seat of your pants?
Flying by your ass.
Well, it's an expression.
Yeah, but where did it come from? Tell me the origin of it.
Okay, I'm gonna think about this give me like 5 seconds to think about this. Of my pants.
Okay.
Well,
right.
It's early aviation parlance. Parlance. Aircraft initially had few navigation aids, and flying was accomplished by means of the pilot's judgment. The term emerged in the 1930s and was first widely used in reports of Douglas Corrigan's flight from the USA to Ireland in 1938.
Wow.
It doesn't really help me, but that's okay, you know?
Sorry.
It's a flying thing. It's an airplane situation.
It's an airplane situation.
I've got a good bit of upfront stuff today. Do you guys have... Oh, what are we drinking? Let's do that.
Ben, what are you drinking?
Water.
It doesn't matter where he is. It doesn't matter the destination or the location. Ben's drinking water.
At least in this time zone. We'll see about
I'm going to go
next
fucking
one.
crazy in California.
He's going to be drinking that raw water.
Gross. Hannah, what am I drinking? I'm drinking...
Welcome to me now.
I'm drinking orange peach mango juice.
Yum.
Yeah.
Just?
I was going to try to spike it, but the vodka has disappeared from the household. We don't know where it is. So
is this like a dry house? Like, what's going on with your parents?
Fucking nerds.
But they have like the only alcohol they have out is like bourbon, and which I love, but doesn't go well with this juice. And
how do you know? Try it.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like it might.
Well, I'll be right back. No, I'm not going to do it. We'll get high on the sugar. Erin, what are you drinking?
I've got a beer, you fricks. It's called Sweet Baby Jesus, and it's a peanut butter porter. It might be a chocolate peanut butter porter. Poured it into a glass.
Good.
It's really good. It's not as good as water, but it's nice.
I like a good chocolate porter.
Yeah, it's chocolate peanut butter. It's really
Yummers.
good. Oh, and tonight there's this bar here, Bar Brewery, and kind of down the street, and they make this hazelnut porter that's so good. So I had 2 pints of that earlier tonight.
That sounds really good.
That was really good.
Oh my god. All right.
Okay.
What's your upfront stuff?
Well, I have a few. My first one is I have a glaring correction. I made a terrible I was incorrect last week. I said that Breaking Bad has 4 seasons. It has 5 seasons.
Oh.
Now, let me tell you, I didn't misspeak or, like, think that I was, like, because I told you I was almost done watching it.
Yeah.
I wasn't, like, on the 5th season and almost done the 5th season and just said 4th. I was almost done the 4th season and just thought there were only 4. And then it ended, and I was like, I feel like I remember more things. And then I was like, because on my phone, it said 4 seasons, I just had to scroll over to see the 5th one. So Breaking Bad has 5 seasons, and I still have another one to watch. But now I'm going to be like, oh, what happens? Because I thought that the last season was the only one. So there you go.
That's great news for whoever only goes to our podcast for information about television seasons. And it's probably bad news for your sleep schedule.
Honestly, this I'm probably projecting, and it's probably unfair, but the first person I thought of was your father, who I know loves Breaking Bad, and I know listens to this podcast, so I feel like he probably, like, sat in judgment of me or yelled out loud, there are 5 seasons!
Well,
interestingly, he has not listened to the latest episode yet.
Oh, would you just get him in advance?
No, okay. I'm not going to tell him. I'm going to see. I'm going to see if we predicted his behavior accurately.
You're right. I feel like he's gonna say out loud at me at the radio, there are 5 seasons, as I say multiple times that there are only 4 seasons.
Yes.
Okay. So apologies specifically to Uncle Brown. I'm so sorry. That's one. Number 2, we watched Making It. Holy shit, what a great show.
It's so good. It's
so
gotten
good.
renewed for a 2nd season already.
Awesome. We loved it. It was one of those things, like, I normally don't tell Molly anything about the podcast in advance. Like, even the thing that I talk about, I don't let her know. I let her, like, listen to it. Mm-hmm. And this one I was like, I gotta spoil this for you. We gotta watch this. And we loved it. The great. Last one is that Aunt Brown, who was the lucky winner of our giveaway a DM to Barack Obama sweepstakes, emailed a DM request, and so I have officially direct messaged Hussein Obama with the requested material. So Aunt Brown, this is for you. I wrote to Barack Obama, President Obama, thank you so much for following me and also for your amazing presidency. I had a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind. I was curious, if you could have run for a third term, would you have? I'm also curious if Michelle is interested in entering the political arena as a candidate. I hope so. She's so amazing. Thank you, Aaron and the podcast team at WayTooBroad.
Oh my God.
And I tagged us.
That's great.
So now we wait.
Oh, that's
probably
amazing.
Forever.
Probably next week. It'll be like, well, Ben can't make it this week, so our third guest is Barack Hussein Obama.
You know,
what are you obsessed with?
He answered that question
Barack
in the David Letterman interview about running, if he could run for a third term if he would. And there was this really funny moment where he said, even if if it were constitutionally allowed, there'd be Michelle to answer to or something. And like the crowd seemed to take it as like Michelle's gonna run. Like they just didn't, they just really heard what they wanted to hear. And then he was like, no, I'm saying like she wouldn't let me run again.
No. I wonder if it's the running or if it's the presidency, you know?
Probably both.
Yeah. I
mean, it seems like at least until recently, it has seemed like a pretty busy job to me.
Now it seems like a lot of golfing. She just like doesn't like golf that much. She's like a little bored by it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, those were the questions that Aunt Brown wanted me to ask. So
yeah,
great job, Aaron. I applaud you for actually doing that. I can't wait to meet the president, the former president. Thank you.
It was a sweepstakes. I also have, in honor of our 50th episode, without anybody looking at the website, I have a piece of trivia for you guys. It's a WayTooBroad trivia.
Oh my goodness.
What episode did Hannah first stop? Sorry. In what episode? What was the first episode that Hannah stopped using the themes of the episode as the episode title and start using a funny clip from the episode as the episode title? I'm looking for the episode number.
I know the answer to this
episode today to prepare for this episode.
I'm gonna let Ben guess first.
It was earlier than I thought. I remember noticing that, thinking it was earlier than I thought it was. I'm gonna say 12.
You were close. Hannah, what is it?
It's episode 10.
It's episode 10, Oh My Wild Yeasts.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was right after the Halloween special.
Yeah.
It's like the Halloween special hit and something clicked in Hannah, and she was like, I'm not doing this anymore, you guys.
That's pretty much what happened. The Halloween special got, for probably a number of reasons, got like the most downloads of any of our episodes so far. And my head was like, that's because we used a different title. And so I started doing that.
That's awesome. That's not the case, but that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah. Probably because there were 9 people. There's a kitty behind you. Okay, bye, kitty.
Yeah, that's Bernoulli.
Aaron's in a place with, well, we're all in places with kitties, but I think Ben and I both have the doors closed to the places where we're recording, so there's no kitties.
We also normally have kitties where we are, whereas Aaron doesn't.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's a topsy-turvy
I'm usually
world.
Kittyless. Yeah, there's 2 cats here. The other's Leo. This cat is now freaking out that he is trapped in the room with me.
Aww.
He was freaking out because he was excluded from the room, and now it's the opposite problem. So you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Y'all know how that goes better than anyone. Well, better than me, I should say.
No one knows more about how cats go than me.
You guys know that better than anyone in our podcast who's not the 2 of you.
Yeah. Well, that was a great piece of trivia. Oh, dang it. You know what? I was making a list of like what our most common themes are, and it's at my house. I don't have it here.
Wow, great job. Great list.
Fun content.
I think music was near the top. And TV shows was, I think, lower than you would think. Books were very high on the list.
Was that well-crafted tally on that?
Yeah. Actually, I put it up on paper? Instagram. That's not fully up to date because I have been adding...
The one that had miscellaneous and other separate categories.
Here's the sad part about that. You guys, here's a peek behind the curtain. That was my second attempt at that list.
Okay, but can you just, in all seriousness, break down the distinction between miscellaneous and other for me?
One of them I put on the list first, and then the other one I forgot it was there, and I put another one.
In fact, that was probably the same one that you put first.
Yeah, so here's the okay, but as of, I don't know, let me see how many weeks ago. As of July 26th, so this probably hasn't changed too much. Oops. Here are our most common topics other than miscellaneous and other. Books is the most. Books and authors are tied with video games. No.
Wow.
Nope. Wrong. Sorry, this is not in order. Musicians are the most. Nope. TV shows are the most.
Wow.
I really started preparing a month ago for this.
Preparation is the most.
Success is 90% preparation.
TV shows is the most. Books and authors and video games are tied for... No, musicians are second. Books and authors and video games are tied for third.
Wow.
Okay. And then podcasts is the next one after that. And then I can read you all the other types of topics if you'd like.
I don't fucking care.
Silence.
I was thinking about a joke the whole time. I'm so sorry. Can I just say it so I can be done with it?
Go ahead.
Prepare is 90% preparation.
Worth it.
This joke is not going to translate at all, but Ben's internet was cutting out, and so he sounded like a robot trying to laugh. It was like, ha ha ha
Ha ha ha ha ha. Holy shit.
Ben's just a robot trying to love.
Look at this thing. Wow, this is not good for the podcast, but look at what I just found in Dad's office.
Oh, that's an old
Old-ass
school iPod.
iPod.
Holy crap. You got to take a picture of that.
80
Wow.
gigabytes.
Those are nice, actually. I think about getting one of those every once in a
I'm
while.
gonna leave the dust on it for the
Why?
picture.
Why?
80 gigabytes. Yeah, why?
Because what if Spotify just quit tomorrow and didn't exist anymore? You'd be fucked. You have no music.
That's true. The music I have is from like whenever Spotify opened, or like I haven't updated my collection at all.
Every once in a while, Spotify will like take a song off, and I'll be like, wait, what? Like, there's a song I literally like can't have.
Yeah, it should be against the law.
Yeah. Exactly. I need like 90 days written notice. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
here are some of the other main themes that we've talked about several times: anime, comedy specials. Sports has been a growing theme, Ben.
That's only me.
no, you're really carrying
And
that
just
theme.
one
Yep.
sport.
Yeah, just one.
Sport.
Well, one of them
really.
was the Olympics, actually. That was Aaron.
Oh, that
that's
was
right.
me.
Yeah.
Joke's on
Politics or current events, YouTube series, travel has come up like 5 different times as far as topics. Education, like when Ben was talking about his like projects that he was doing for school.
Or I was teaching programming classes.
Yep.
And learning French.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Cooking and food, musicals, albums, card games, gardening, creepy stuff, health, movies, religions, and stores.
I find it impossible to believe that lesbianism is not on that list.
Well, it's all scattered across this list. It's mostly in comedy specials and
True.
Books and
And
authors.
sprinkled / infused. Yeah.
books and authors. Yep.
We have a
musicals.
lesbian infused
Yeah, I
podcast.
Yeah.
Let's change the name.
Gotta change the name. Episode 50. Time for a name change.
Rebrand.
We've got a lot to talk about. So I for any new listeners, this week we're gonna talk about not our usual format, which is we all bring an obsession to the table, but we're going to talk about past obsessions of other people that we have really appreciated learning about from our co-hosts, and that maybe are reasons that we're glad that we started doing this podcast. And like, I don't know if I should save my sappy thoughts on this podcast for like now or for the end. Maybe at the end. What do you guys think?
Let's, if you're feeling it now, let's.
Well, I was listening back to the first episode today, and I was thinking about how, like, when I first thought about doing this podcast, I was thinking about having like a rotating cast of like co-hosts kind of every week.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Whoops.
No. But when I think about why I wanted to do it that way, I think it was largely because I didn't trust that anybody would want to keep doing this with me like every week forever. Like, I kind of thought it was something I was going to have to like own by myself and like not take that amount of like people's time or attention or commitment and stuff. So that was like one part of it. And then the other part was that I can't even remember how it ended up being you two, but we had such a great time that first time that we recorded. And like, you know, not that I was surprised that we had like a good time or we had like good chemistry with each other, but like I didn't want also to stop doing that. So it wasn't like you guys imposed anything. It was just like I didn't expect anybody to be willing to do this with me for a year or more. So
hell yeah.
Yeah. So like it's been just super fun, and I know we've talked about how much we appreciate like doing this with each other every week like a bunch of times, but it's just been like really super fun, and it's also been fun to like, it's been really rewarding for me on a personal level with you guys to see how much, like, to never feel like I have to drag you guys to doing this or anything like that. Like we're always like, even though we're flying by the seat of our butts every week on scheduling, there's never anybody suggesting that we just like don't do it one week or anything like that. We're all like, yeah, we're doing this podcast, it's fun, and we want to keep doing it consistently. And you know, we have a very small listener base. It's mostly our family, but you know, we love doing it for ourselves and for them, and we're going to keep on doing it. And that's just really nice. And I like it. And I'm glad that it's in my life for that reason alone, let alone all these obsessions.
What a joy for me. I was talking to somebody, maybe I guess it was my family, about Ben's move and, you know, out to California. And they were like, yeah, I think he's like going to grad school. And I was filling them in on all the details. And I was thinking about how I was like, I probably wouldn't even know he was moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If, you know, I probably would have heard from somebody at some point like, oh, Ben's in California. And I would have been like, what for? But, so just like, that's been really awesome just to know Ben's daily whereabouts.
That's made it all worth it.
Yeah. The personal tracking device that I've planted on him has been well worth the money.
Ben, what's been your favorite part besides the obsessions we're going to talk about? Putting you on the spot.
This has been
freaking spot.
Like it's like you mentioned that we, like, I always make time for it every week, and throughout the last year of college, which is basically the time we've been doing this, which was a very, very busy year for me. Had like a lot of work to do and a lot of hard work. It was always nice that I would like have this hour and a half or 2 hours that was like guaranteed, where I would just be like relaxing and not worrying about like, because I had that big team project for senior year, and then I had like a bunch of other team-based stuff, because all engineering projects are like team-based, which is so frustrating when you have to like rely on other people, and like it's very refreshing to have this every week where it's like, also I'm relying on two people that I'm sure I can rely on, like you mentioned, to like always bring something entertaining to the table and just like be fun to talk to. And it was just like it was a really great way to like de-stress every week, was recording this podcast. That's why it never felt like out of the way or busy for me, because it became something I felt like I kind of needed every week to like unwind a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm super grateful for that. And like it honestly, like doing this made senior year, despite the fact that it was an extra thing, it like made senior year a lot easier for me, I think.
That's awesome. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That's so nice. That makes me feel a lot better about all those times that we had to work around really weird scheduling things for you. And I was like worried that we were imposing on your life. But I got the sense that you at least were like feeling pretty committed to it. And so I was like, I never felt bad about it. But hearing that it also was like something that you look forward to.
Oh, yeah.
Is really nice to hear.
I think I wouldn't have.
You definitely...
I wouldn't have tried so hard to schedule her my weird stuff if it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
You definitely won and /win Busiest Boy Award.
Yeah, you're a great busy boy.
And you're also the only boy on the podcast, but you're the busiest out of all the boys.
Yeah, that's like when my grandpa used to tell me I was his favorite granddaughter, but I was his only one.
Oh, Trixie.
So Trixie.
Yeah, I felt the same way. It was like at the beginning I was worried about myself because I have like plan commitment issues a lot, like long-term plan, but now it's like not even like an option, right? Like it's not like and it's easy. It's just like an hour where I'm at my house anyway.
Right.
I'm going to be home. Might as well talk to my cousins for a couple hours.
Right. And then it's like I kind of feel similarly about editing it because like sometimes on a Saturday I'll be like, oh God, I need to edit. But then when I start listening to it, and Ian could attest to this if you ever were to be suspicious of this story, that like
give me proof right now.
That I'll just start like busting out laughing while I'm editing, and then that's like it always ends up being like a fun, nice part of my weekend as well. So it's good. What were you gonna say, Ben?
When I started doing this, I didn't know I would be moving to California in less than a year. So it's nice that I like already have this like way now to like keep in contact with you guys every week. Am I quiet? I feel like my Audacity is sounding quiet. Okay, I'm gonna turn myself up.
You don't sound quiet, but you are like breaking up. I think we might have to turn the cameras off.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a funny slow video story. So it was this week. It was yesterday. Wow. No, it was yesterday. I'm sorry. It's really important that I get the day right. Yesterday, right before Molly installed our like nice internet extender in our house, I was in the office taking a video call for work. It's like a normal work video call. And apparently someone said something. My internet was being really slow. So they were kind of making fun of me during my talking portion because they could hear my voice, but my video was like frozen. Or it was like freezing intermittently. And then during someone else's like turn to talk, I gave like a thumbs up and a smile at something. But apparently my face froze, like my video froze right at my, kind of as I was like kind of bringing my thumb down and like relaxing my face. So I kind of had this like kind of unenthused, like kind of fake smile and a thumbs up for like 20 seconds. So my connection completely froze. Like I was locked out of everyone's sound and video. And when it came back on, everyone was laughing. And one of my coworkers was like across the room sitting down. And I didn't know what they were laughing at. I didn't know this had happened. And they were all laughing at me.
Like across the room sitting down from laughing?
Yeah, he had to leave the meeting and go sit down.
Are you okay? Is that okay? Are you okay?
Yeah, I was okay. I don't get embarrassed at things like that because it's funny, right? Like it's like something to laugh at.
Yeah.
It's like joke fodder. Because I've been doing this like today during my video call. My internet was a lot better. I was like giving them like weird smile thumbs up for long periods of time.
That's great.
So, but yeah, Ben, your audio is much better now.
Cool.
Fabulous.
We're just damned to a life of never looking at you in an audio call or in a video call.
Hopefully I can get a new computer after moving out there. Maybe after a couple months.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah. You know what? Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I know we've all gone through and picked some things. Do we want to... How do we want to do this?
We do it in order. In the usual order, I think.
Yeah, whose time is it? It's a push and a pop, Hannah. I just don't know how many times we need to tell you this.
It's Ben's turn to be first.
Oh, fuck, I'm
Ben's
first?
turn.
Who's after me?
Me.
Okay, so I'll do your stuff first.
Oh, okay.
Nice. Meta ordering.
So what I did, how I went about this was I went through the handy dandy website, which has all the episodes on it, WayTooBroad.com. First I was looking for the topic index. First I was going through the topic index, then I wanted to do it like more chronologically, so I went through, oh, you know what? We should have an option to order the topic index chronologically. That would be kind of cool.
That's a good idea.
Just thought of that. So instead I looked through the episodes, and like looked at the descriptions to figure out the obsessions. And I wrote down any of them that like I got into because of you guys. Even if it was to a small extent. And I was telling Hannah this earlier. Interestingly, I found out that for the first half of the episodes, it seemed like I was getting into a lot more things that Aaron was obsessed with. Second half, a lot more Hannah. Don't know why,
Nice.
I thought
but that's what
was
happened.
the opposite.
No, it was that. I'm looking at I have the list written in front of me, okay?
I'm fucking looking at it.
Oh, you know what?
Is this your section, Hannah? I'm sorry.
Sorry, whose section is it? It's pushing a pop, Hannah.
Okay, all right.
So, do you want me? I feel like I kind of want to read like all of them for you, Hannah, and then just talk about like two of them, maybe.
Okay.
In particular, two of them first half, two from second half.
All right.
So the first half ones that I wrote down were from the very first episode, the McElroys. Which I hadn't really been into it that much before this podcast, before that first episode. And then I started like listening to Bim Bam. I watched the show on CISO. Still trying to get into the Adventure Zone. But like I watched all of their...
Kylie's listening to it.
Yeah, I know. I've watched all of Justin and Griffin's videos on like that Polygon makes, where they like play games together.
Love
and like
those.
almost all the Monster Factories. They're because they're just some good funny boys. They're very funny on Twitter.
They're some good busy boys.
Just love them.
Speaking of good busy boys,
they're busy boys
yeah.
too. And then my second one was the Patton Oswalt special Annihilation, which was so fucking good, and I had forgotten about until I like went back to look over these. And that's just like it's just a very special special.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
see.
I don't know, because it's it's really interesting how I feel like the best comedy specials nowadays are the ones that are like so much more honest, because I feel like I've noticed this transition in like stand-up comedy in terms of what's popular, at least like what I like in stand-up comedy, where it's like instead of it being treated as like just purely for entertainment, like just to make people laugh, it's like being more appreciated as the art form that it is. You know what I mean? So I feel like people are approaching it, like stand-ups are approaching it from like a much more artistic perspective, and maybe they always have, and I just like appreciate it more now.
I don't think they necessarily
but
always
that's
have.
a really good example of that, I think.
Yeah, no.
Do you feel like you've noticed that too?
Yeah, and in fact, in the stand-up class that I took, which I think I mentioned in like our first episode, our instructor was saying how comedy, like stand-up comedy, kind of goes in waves of like themes is not the right word, but styles. How like observational humor was really in, and like deadpan humor was really in, and we're kind of starting to see this really like emotionally raw, like window into the soul comedy with Notaro, and I feel like like Patton Oswalt's bit, like that was one like Nanette, right? Like it was like the first bit was like business as usual, and then kind of take a turn into something more unexpected. And
you kind of got a taste of both a little bit, and like you realize the second half was so much more compelling.
It's like the comedy relies so much on the element of surprise that I think that's part of why like stand-up comedy and comedy in general both do that, because like eventually audiences will not be surprised anymore by what they used to be. And so like I think it's like just like with any other form of media, it's also some reflection on sort of the culture at large and what's happening in the culture. And then it's also like, as far as delivery styles go, it's like, just like people don't trust commercials or marketing language the way that they used to. They don't trust someone who sounds like very polished on stage and is telling like a very innocuous story that they're like, telling them anything true or real. But like the fact that it matters that it's true, that's maybe like more of a reflection on where the culture is right now,
Yeah. Yep. Interesting. I like that thought.
Thanks.
Yeah. We don't have time for fake shit.
That's right. Fake news. Well, and I think it's important, especially for the Patton Oswalt bit, for like to see, especially like a man be emotionally vulnerable and talk about something real instead of, and it was almost impossible for him not to in his position. Like you would have watched a stand-up special, like knowing that his wife had died.
Yeah. And
then it would have ended and you would have been like, okay.
Yeah.
He just told jokes for 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
But it
would have felt dishonest.
Exactly. Like we know stuff is going on. I think it's different for like an unknown comedian to get up there and just kind of bullshit for 2 hours. But it's almost like with our celebrity culture, like we know too much for that to fly too.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. It's interesting in so many facets.
Yeah.
That's why I like Annihilation.
And I had forgotten about it actually until I was going through when we were setting up the website, or a little bit afterwards, and I saw Annihilation on there, and I couldn't remember what it was. And when I Googled it, I found like a movie, and I was like, I've never seen this. Like, I don't think
I had a similar experience, because I saw that movie like while in the time span that we were recording the podcast, and I was like, did I talk about it? Because it was really good, but I didn't feel obsessed with it. I don't think I brought it to the show.
Yeah, so I changed the description when I got confused. I changed it to say
Tessa Thompson's in Annihilation.
Oh,
whoa!
It's actually really good. It's like an all female main cast sci-fi movie.
Oh,
that sounds good.
Which is cool.
It does sound good.
Yeah.
The Annihilation title for Patton Oswalt special, though, is like so layered too.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was really early. That was episode 8.
Yep.
Cool.
My other 3 for Hannah from the first half, which I'm not going to talk about as much because they were all kind of ones that I had already been obsessed with at some point myself, that Hannah was also talking about. Stardew Valley, home movies, and Breath of the Wild. Although Stardew Valley we have been playing again recently in co-op with Hannah and Ian and myself.
Oh, cool.
Which has been really fun. So we've been like getting back into that.
You've been playing with yourself, Ben?
Ben, do you want to talk about the little...
Did I say it like that?
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about that, though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Not that. Stardew Valley.
Okay, not that.
Okay, we started a farm, and Ben started it, and then when Ian and I joined, we made really weird-looking characters that Ben immediately started calling ghouls, and he started attacking us as soon as we appeared on his farm, so that was fun. And then... But you can't hurt other players.
And Hannah's character's name is Human in all caps.
And then now Ben and Ian are in some kind of prank war with each other because we all have our own little houses, and so they keep on like stealing each other's furniture and TVs and like leaving each other like threatening signs and stuff.
Like I left a sign in his house that just had a sword on it. And it started when I waited in his house, but like for him to get home to go to sleep, just standing and like right when you walk in, so that when he walked in he'd like walk into me, and then just started moving all of his furniture around while he was there, and then ran away. And then I think he stole my TV, and then it just went back and forth from there. And neither of us like say anything usually. We just kind of do it, and Hannah sometimes doesn't even know what's going on.
Yeah. It's fun.
Y'all are rowdy.
It's very funny. Yeah, it's fun. It's a good game.
Yeah, everybody should be playing it.
Everyone play that.
Yeah. Cool. So those are the ones for me.
That's first half. Yeah.
First half.
Now we're going to do Hannah's second half. Hannah's second half for me was real strong in terms of things that I definitely got super obsessed with. One of them, which I think is one of the ones that like we literally did an episode about, Janelle Monáe. I mean,
oh yeah, fuck yeah,
Janelle Monáe, Dirty Computer. Hannah managed to nab both of those technically, that they were her obsessions, but they were all of ours.
But
Janelle Monáe's amazing.
I did
obviously
bring Janelle Monáe first.
You did,
you did. Yeah. You stole it from
you
Kylie.
Did. That's true.
But yeah,
that's true.
You did.
Yeah. Kylie did find her, but you brought her to the pod first. You're right.
Full cred.
And we were all way behind on that.
Yeah, I literally didn't know who she was.
Yeah.
So that was you.
Same.
Thanks.
And now she's like a big part of my life.
We actually, when Kylie and I were packing all our stuff, we listened to Dirty Computer again. It's so good.
Nice.
It's so good.
I've been listening to it again recently too.
Oh,
Dirty
speaking of things I've been listening to again recently. Wow. Another one for me from Hannah's second half is Slow Burn, that Slate podcast about Watergate. And I've been listening to it again recently because there's a new season.
Yeah.
And it's about the impeachment of Bill Clinton and the whole Monica Lewinsky thing.
Oh.
They're like, I think 3 or 4 episodes out. I listened to the first one. Also fascinating and so much stuff I didn't know about. And that was even more recent.
Is this Slow Burn referring to the cigar?
We haven't gotten to that part yet, Aaron. Spoilers.
No, it's not spoilers of its history. I don't know how many times I need to say that. It literally happened.
I don't know that they were planning on doing the Bill Clinton stuff when they made the show. I think it was just supposed to be a Watergate podcast. But then it got popular, so they did more. Is that not true?
Maybe you're right. You might be right. But it's really, really interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. What else?
Also, Gil and Gilbert. Gil and Gilbert's one I haven't gotten as into. But I do watch sometimes when I'm just like, I don't know, looking for some funny shit on YouTube to watch. That's pretty quick. I like watch one of their highlight things because they're just some funny boys.
Yeah.
And they're also both really funny on Twitter. And I've actually watched some of Patrick, what's his name? Patrick David Gilbert? Is that his name?
No, there's Brian David Gilbert and Pat Gill.
David Gilbert. That's what it is. I mixed them. Brian David Gilbert's videos. Like he made a whole video for Polygon that was just trying to convince the viewer that Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles had the best music of any Final Fantasy game. And just like making his case for that. And another one about how Nintendo hates Luigi. So those are fun too.
He also has like a bunch of really weird videos on just on his own channel on YouTube that are fun.
Yeah. He's a funny guy.
Yeah.
My last two from Hannah's second half were The Staircase and Gourmet Makes. The Staircase I got super into and watched very quickly with Kylie. Gourmet Makes has been more recent for me in that it was like this past week because actually, I didn't tell you this, Hannah, but I was at my friend's house last Saturday, and he like randomly put on an episode of It's Alive, which is another of the Bon Appetit YouTube shows. Run, and I think Claire was like, oh, Claire was in the episode. It was the one with where he was making those sourdough cookies.
Yeah, and whenever he bakes, she turns up. And yeah, they have one where they make sourdough bread, Aaron. I don't know if I ever told you
fun.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
That show is also really good. Everyone should watch it. It's the test kitchen manager at Bon Appetit. It's called It's Alive. Because he does like stuff with like live cultures and fermentation. Just ferments a lot of stuff, basically. But he's so fucking funny.
We just watched the kombucha one.
That was a mistake.
Yeah, we just watched the kombucha one with our whole family, including our brother Lucas and our non-real aunt Julie. I don't know. We don't call her an aunt, but like. She's kind of like aunt-ish, and she and they both have made kombucha before, and they were just so harsh on him. They were like,
very judgmental.
Wow.
Yeah. They were like, I would never drink his kombucha. We were like, okay, he's not like selling it. Like
kombucha shade. What did he do? What kombucha sin did he commit?
I don't know what they were jabbering about.
He siphoned it into another jar. And when he did it with a tube, with like a gas siphon where you like start sucking it and then it like gets flowing on its own, you know? So he used his mouth to do that. And they were like, oh my God. And I was like, it's for him.
I feel like it's fine.
I also feel that way. Like it's just his personal.
He's very entertaining too.
Yes, he's very funny. Anyway. Yeah, that's a good
Gourmet
one.
Mix is also really good. It's so fun to see her. I mean, you talked about this when you talked about it in the pod, but like it's so fun to just hear her know kind of exactly what she's talking about and like what she needs to do to adjust these recipes to like fit the characteristics she needs. And also it's just so interesting because like all of the things she's trying to make are made through like this industrialized process where they make like millions of them a day. And so it's really interesting to see her try to replicate things that most people can't ever do. Like they're just, it makes you realize how unnatural it is how any of these things are made. Beyond their ingredients, also like the processes they used to make them is like basically no standard cooking is involved. Because you like can't make them as they are with any sort of like standard cooking methods. You have to like do a bunch of weird shit to get it to like be even similar.
Yeah.
That's unsettling.
Yeah, but it's cool. And the one she makes always looks so good. I want to try them every time.
Yeah. What else?
That's it for you.
More.
You're done. You're over.
Aaron.
You're canceled.
Welcome to Aaron now.
Welcome to Aaron now. Aaron had... Alright, I'm going to read Aaron's from the first half off real quick. We got Tig Notaro, Rufus Wainwright, Westworld, Dominion, Harry Potter, the Olympics. Gotta talk about Dominion first. Because I feel like... Well, I not feel like we did. We all got into that at the same time together.
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving.
Yeah. And I just got to call it.
Yeah, and that was... And I still play that every few weeks with Kylie. Lucas has been coming over like every week or so lately, and we play whenever he's over too. It's so good. I had such a good Gardens game the other day.
Nice. Aaron, do you and Molly still play Dominion?
Yeah, we play Dominion. We do Dominion at least once a week, I'd say.
Nice.
Yeah, often several times a week. So fun. We've been mixing the standard and the intrigue action cards together, and so play kind of a hybrid.
Wow.
Like expanded version. It's really fun.
Next level shit.
Next level. Yeah, it's fun. Fun as shit.
Do you like the card Bandit?
Oh, Bandito? Fuck yeah.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Who doesn't like a bandit?
Kylie and Lucas hate it.
It's great.
Because it's so polarizing. They feel like They want to remove it from the set if it gets pulled.
No,
I love it.
No,
I love
we
it.
love it. We love it.
It's so good.
I love the cards that get you money. Like my ideal deck.
Oh my god,
my
shit.
My ideal game is a game where I don't have to purchase money, where I can like have all the fun action cards and be gaining money be playing money. Like
Bureaucrat Bandit, baby. Bureaucrat Bandit Chapel. That's what I want in my set.
Absolutely. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. And merchant.
I don't know.
Merchant.
It is frustrating because it just like messes with the flow of the game, but then that's also why it can be fun. But I get where they're coming from. I'm not as passionate.
I think you need to have moat in the set with it.
Yeah. Or in Intrigue, there's Secret Chamber, which does the same thing, except you play it right before the action hits you or the attack hits you. So you still have to absorb the attack, but you get to, I think, draw 2 cards from your deck and then put 2 cards back. So you can basically like mitigate the damage that an attack does to you. I will say, if you're the type of person who doesn't attack, the attack cards are extra brutal on you because you're kind of bearing the brunt of them without participating in their wrath. So Molly really likes Curses. Or the witch. And the witch. And I found that it's militia. And I found that it's I used to like really hate the militia until I just started getting one. If she got one, I got one, and then it's like tit for tat.
Yeah, I think you gotta. It's like it's like an arms race. Tit for tit.
It's a lesbian relationship, so it's tit for tit always.
So what did we call it before? The new name,
Lesbian Infused Podcast.
Yes.
I just want to do a quick point out to the listeners. It sounds like we're talking over each other like way more than usual, and it's just because of our internet connection.
Yeah,
I think we're not being able to hear when one of us is talking. Immediately. So that's.
I'll fix it as much as I can.
We still love each other and respect each other. It's nothing, Your parents love each other very much. It's not you. It's the internet.
What else?
All right.
Let's not get hung up on.
I think it's too late for that. I think my second one I'll choose for Aaron has got to be Harry Potter on HBO Go because we did the exact same thing after you talked about it. We definitely had wanted to rewatch all the Harry Potter movies for a while, but we didn't know they were on HBO. Just had no idea. And then you were telling us how you did it. You and Molly were doing that. We were like, oh, fuck, we're going to do that. And so Kylie and I watched all of them on HBO.
Oh, awesome. Fuck yeah.
We did like a couple weeks after that episode. And they're so good. They're so good. And you know what? Kylie has always said her favorite movie is the first part 1 of the 7th.
So good.
So I guess the 7th movie. But the 8th movie, part 2.
Wait. The first part 1 of the 7th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She always said her favorite movie was the first.
Part 1.
Part 1 of the 7th.
Fuck. Part 2 is so much better than I remembered, though. I thought.
Yeah. Wait, part 2 of the first of the 7th.
Yes, part 2 of the first part 1 of the 7th. Okay, moving on. From the second half, I only had 3 for Aaron from the second half, which I thought was interesting. That I had also gotten really obsessed with. But the 2 I'm going to talk about, been real obsessed with, as I think we all have, Queer Eye and Nanette were both Aaron's, and both incredible.
If the conversation seems to flow better, it's not because anyone's fighting with Ben. It's it's because we fixed our audio inputs to make it a little bit easier to hear each other.
We're not throwing mad microaggressions at Ben. We're not gaslighting Ben. I would like to point out that the Queer Eye episode, I love the title of this episode that we talked about Queer Eye on. What was Secret Hitler to whom? That's definitely one of my favorites.
There's some very good name episodes. I really like Cut Off Jeans and a Peg Leg. So, always reminds me of that joke.
I would love that joke too. That was you.
It was me. It was a good joke. I'm willing to admit that.
It was a good joke. Yeah.
And also,
own it.
I was reading through and I was looking. We should use all this. I guess I'll figure it out. But there one that you did the description for, Aaron, right before I went to China. I was reading it and I was like, this is so funny. Did I write this? And then I was like, oh no, I didn't.
Your descriptions are very funny.
Thanks. But yours tickled me.
Enjoy them. Thanks. Was that Doctors Without Borders of America?
I love that title.
I'll have to, during my section, I'll try to figure out which part I was laughing at specifically, and I'll tell you about it.
Cool. All right, Ben,
Okay,
keep going. Keep chugging along. Keep talking about me. Let's go.
My two for the second half for Aaron were Queer Eye and Nanette, both of which all of us, I think, got very obsessed with. And I think the world got obsessed with, rightfully so.
Yep.
Yes.
Nanette,
similar to Annihilation, but dialed up and better, I think. I mean, Annihilation is really good. Would you
say, Ben, would you say that the world got obsessed with them because of us also?
Oh, yeah. I think that's implied.
His
Hundo%.
Not no question.
The order of his statements certainly implied that.
Yes, it did.
There is an implied, and because of that, in between the two statements.
We got obsessed with them, and then, only then, the world.
There's definitely a causality there, for sure.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The third one I had for Aaron was learning French, because even though I haven't, actively gone back to learning French through that episode, that was a big part of my life in high school that I really, really liked and miss a lot, is just, foreign languages and French specifically, because I learned French for so long and really loved it while I was learning it.
How's that going, Aaron?
Oh, I've dropped it off completely. Absolutely. But such is the transient nature of our podcast.
Yes, that's true. That's why we didn't start a podcast about French. We started a podcast about week-long obsessions.
Yep.
We.
Although I might get back into
French too.
Get back into some Duolingo or something, because I really like French a lot.
Yeah, I think you'll totally have time in your PhD engineering program.
Duolingo's flexible. Do 10 minutes a day.
They are, but they're real passive aggressive.
Oh my god, they're so with their notifications. They're
doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah, I'll stop pinging you. Yeah, one day they're like, hey, it's 10 a.m. They're like, you haven't done your French lesson today. And then at 10:02, they're like, well, I guess I won't talk to you anymore if you're not going to be an active participant in this relationship. I don't know why I even bother.
You're like, great. See you never, Duolingo.
Yeah, see you never. Yeah, that's what I said.
What else?
That's it.
Oh.
That was a lot.
Good ones, Ben.
It was a lot. I don't have that many.
That's good, because we will run a long time if you do. In retrospect, you know what? Honestly, I probably should have just picked only two like we talked about, but I wanted to talk about more, and I didn't think it would take that long.
We can do what we want.
You did.
Honestly, we talked about so many different iterations of how today was going to go that I don't think we ever landed on a final iteration. Fair. So I think we each came today with a different set of things to talk about.
That's fine. That's great. That's what it's all about. Preparation.
It was way too broad of a prompt.
Okay, well, I'm next. So let me pull
Welcome to me now.
My thingies. So I'm going to do Aaron first, because Aaron's going next after me. So, there were a lot of good things that Aaron brought to the table.
I like this past tense. Am I being kicked off this podcast?
Aaron, you did a lot of great things while you were here.
Am I being replaced by Barack Hussein Obama? Because I kind of stand by that. I would take that hit for the team.
Yeah. He's like, I will join your podcast, but only if that girl that DM'd me is not on it anymore. That young woman
Look, it was a sweepstakes. I don't know what to say. It was a DM giveaway sweepstakes.
I can't believe you actually did it. It's so great.
What do you mean you can't believe it? We talked about it for like 3 or 4 episodes.
I think I have to do like 1.5 because I've already sort of revisited B. Steadwell, so I don't want her to be like the main thing that I say for Erin, but I just want to give like an extra honorable mention to the B. Steadwell obsession and B. Steadwell in general because I'm still very obsessed with her. We were listening to her on the way here and she's fucking astounding, and there's no way that I would have known about her if it wasn't for this podcast and for Erin. So thank you, Erin, for that.
Probably my greatest contribution to your life. You're welcome.
Yep. And then but of all the rest of them, probably the one that has like kind of like sucked me in the most, that is something that Erin brought, was Spooked. Which I was immediately like, this is incredible. I have to listen to this all the time. And even
I just didn't know you didn't know about it before.
I didn't.
I don't remember that. I probably knew it at the time of filming, but I didn't filming.
Yeah, no, I didn't know about it. I didn't know about it at all. I had heard of Snap Judgment.
I just escalated our project here like a million times. Like filming. Like what is this? A fucking like mini series now? It's
we were sitting in makeup together and talking about it. Yeah. But yeah, no, I'm like, I just really love it. It's just something that I really look forward to. I hope it goes on forever. I just think it's a really cool project, and I would totally not have known about it. And it's like, another thing I appreciate about it is that it's one of those things that there's like such a small chance that you, Erin, would have even mentioned it to me if we weren't doing this weekly obsession podcast together, because it's just like we don't see each other particularly close to Halloween usually. Like it's usually like a month after Halloween that we see each other like regularly in person, you know. And even if we talk, we'd be talking about like all of the big milestones that have happened to us rather than the podcast that we're listening to. Like that wouldn't necessarily come up. So I appreciate that. It's enriched my Halloween life and my everyday life, and it's a great podcast.
And now season 2 is enriching your about to be fall through up until Halloween.
Yes,
life.
And it feels so special for it to be back. It not only does it like make me feel like, oh my god, finally it's not going to be that hot anymore, but it also like reminds me of Erin, and it reminds me of our show, and it's now this wonderful like yearly tradition that I get to look forward to for however long it lasts, which is great.
Frick yeah.
So that's that one.
Nice.
And the one that I have for Ben is In the Heights.
Oh.
And this may be controversial because I think Erin actually played me In the Heights long before Ben actually brought it to the podcast.
That's probably true.
Definitely did.
Yeah. But I didn't I listened to it with you. It didn't really like capture me at the time. And
that's all right.
Yeah, and like I also like, as much as I like super trust your like musical judgment and also like anything Lin-Manuel does, like it's just like, you know, I was in a very Hamilton place at the time that you were playing me In the Heights, and it was just like, this sounds a little bit like Hamilton, but I'd rather be listening to Hamilton, and that's like kind of where my head was at. And I couldn't follow the plot either. But when Ben brought it, he recommended reading the synopsis on you know, that place with Wikipedia. Yeah.
The place with the stuff.
With all the information. And that was a really, really helpful recommendation. And also just the fact that both of you were recommending it together and both had this great love for it. And Ben is not necessarily someone who's just like blanket obsessed, or he is probably now, but at the time, like, I didn't think of him as someone who was just like blanket obsessed with Lin-Manuel Miranda's work, you know? Like, I was like, okay, this is definitely worth looking into. And then like it was a really great joy for me at that time.
I did once bring Lin-Manuel Miranda as my obsession though.
You know,
that was that week.
Was it? I thought I had it in the Heights as a separate one.
I thought Erin brought him.
No,
you brought him. No, that's episode 5. You brought Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Well, fine. Then I don't know why.
Shit, she's right. I never brought In the Heights. Oh, no. Technicality, you lose. Hannah loses.
In the Heights was
wait.
Was it not? Oh.
Wait.
No, it's not on the topic index.
Episode 5.
Yeah, but it's...
Ben weaned himself off of Hamilton by listening to In the Heights instead. Now he likes it better. Everyone gushes over Lin-Manuel Miranda's Twitter. You brought In the Heights, I think, and Hannah just listed it.
No, because I'm pretty sure in that episode I say like my obsession is Lin-Manuel Miranda overall.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
It was Lin-Manuel. You're right. You are right. Because the way that I did the same thing Ben did. I went to the topic index first, and then I wasn't 100% sure whose obsession was whose, so I went and read the synopses. And so I was looking at homework where it says to do In the Heights. And I can't say that Ben brought the obsession with Lin-Manuel Miranda to me, because I was definitely already there. But out of that obsession came... my much greater appreciation of In the Heights.
I don't begrudge you at all for it's gotta be the right time.
Yeah.
And I can totally see you can't listen to In the Heights if you're still deep into Hamilton. Mm-mm. It's gotta be when you're like, I love this, but I have to listen to something else.
Absolutely.
It's the perfect time.
It's like a stepping stone back to other music besides Hamilton.
You're like, I want to listen to this, but I just don't want to hear it anymore.
But I always want to hear it. I don't know.
I don't know how to feel.
I don't know what to do. I'm frozen with my hand over the play button, and I don't know what to do. Yeah. So that's essentially what I have. I had a couple of extra ones. Like, I had forgotten that I watched Carol because of you bringing the book The Price of Salt to the show, Aaron, and I really, really appreciated that movie a lot. So that was one little one.
And I also mentioned Carol, I think, in just a passing thing in a lesbian movie review. No, that was the same thing. I'm sorry, that was the same. That was episode 15.
Somewhere I also wrote down when I started doing the podcast candle thing, but I didn't bring that either. So that's a little piece of trivia for someone else.
You did a lot of preparation for this episode and then left it all somewhere else.
I almost didn't even bring my mic. Like, you guys are lucky that I was this prepared, honestly.
You're lucky to have me.
Wow.
Thank me for being here.
I had such a busy week.
Wow, is this like a Virgo thing? I mean, a Leo thing? Or you're like just...
neither of those is my sign.
Fuck, what are you?
Cancer on this world.
It's like a Cancer thing.
Cancer on this world.
I'm a Cancer.
Man.
Regular kind.
Is this like prepare so far in advance that it's absolutely useless?
Well, it's like, you know what it is? Cancers like to build, they like to nest. Like, we like to, make our houses into little... Actually, rings very true to me about Cancers. I like to just, my home becomes, a bird's nest just full of stuff and junk and things all around me. I want to be able to see everything that's mine all the time, and so it's really messy, but I also really like to be in it and among it and there with my partner, and so I think that I left all that stuff at my nest because I feel that's where it belongs, and now I'm not there. Just like a crab.
Caw goes the crab.
Yep. From his nest. So
that's really funny.
Those are mine, and then all the nice stuff I said before also. I appreciate you guys.
Great. I appreciate you and all that hard work of editing that you do and all that.
And I appreciate our listeners for listening and engaging with us. And as I mentioned maybe earlier, we're going to be getting to all of the feedback that you have sent us and may continue to send us over this coming week for episode 51, which is going to be our 1 year anniversary next week.
That's right. Woot woot.
Woot.
Because we had a week where Hannah was in China. So if you recall.
If you'll recall,
that's why
please.
that's why you're like, oh, it's a every 4 week a month podcast, and it's a year, and there's 52 weeks in a year, but it's the 51st episode. If you're like trying to figure that out, like I might have been, just remember that we had a China week.
Right.
Okay.
Erin.
Me now.
It's you now. Welcome to you now.
Cool. Well, I'm just like drinking the dregs of all the obsessions. JK, I actually have a lot of different ones. I'll start with Ben, just because he's first on my list here. I'll admit, like, at the beginning, I was a little nervous about Ben, just because, like, he's got a lot of great obsessions, but I'm bad about, I think I'm worse than you two about, like, actually engaging in kind of, like, the unknown obsessions to me. Like, I love hearing about them, but I haven't, like, really delved into, like, a lot of the cool books that you've recommended or any of the anime, which is on my list to do. I just haven't done it. But I have a good list from Ben here. Hell yeah. In no particular order, except the order that I looked through a topic index and wrote down.
So chronological.
The Marvelous
topic index. Alphabetical?
Alphabetical.
Yeah, alphabetical potentially. But not because I was kind of
gotcha.
pinging around. It's not in order. You can try to think of an order later as like a wild conspiracy theory. But, you know, that's on your time. The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was a great show that I had heard about, but like didn't really plan on watching until you obsessed about it. And we loved it, and we can't wait for
Which is
season
coming
2
out
to come
soon,
out
right?
super
Yeah.
soon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know when yet, but yeah, that great show. Fucking loved watching it. Big Mouth was another one. That's a. Is it fair to call it a cartoon?
Yeah.
Is it literally a cartoon?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't watch cartoons. Like I would say that I'm like straight up not interested in them. Loved Big Mouth so much.
Which the second season of that's also in the works.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, it was so good. And it was actually Molly, like, having listened to the episode, we were sitting down and wanting to watch something kind of light and not super long. And she was like, let's watch Big Mouth. That sounded really interesting. And we loved it. So, Mrs. Maisel was from episode 21. Big Mouth was from episode 6. I also wrote down all the episode numbers.
We should have been saying that for sure.
Yeah.
That's okay. People can go to our website. I've snorted 3 times in this episode.
Okay. These other ones aren't the obsession themselves, but more that I enjoyed the discussions. So it's not like I got excited about these and obsessed with these, because the first two are Kylie's lung and sexual harassment rant. Like, I didn't get obsessed with Kylie's lung, but I enjoyed like the kind of alternative topics there. Yeah. So, and also like the other ones that you bring to the table, like your nightmares and other kind of alternative, like wanting to get a second cat and stuff.
Yeah.
Another like major shout out was I loved the Goose House episode, which is episode 32. I didn't actually like ever listen or get into Goose House, but I loved our discussion about it, because that was the episode where we like read their website and Hannah read it on Google Translate, and it was so fucking funny. And then we laughed so hard during that episode, and that inspired the format of our if you go to our website, WayTooBroad.com, WayTooBroad.com, on our about page, the kind of questions on like each of our why can't I say these words, like the place that tells you about us,
our bios.
I couldn't tell if the internet was going out or if you just were taking long pauses.
My brain was going out. The bio questions are copied and pasted from the Goose House Google translated version of their website. So that was just a gift. That was just like one of those things that was like never would have happened had you not brought up.
One of my favorite things about that episode too was it was a classic example of, I feel like in general I prepare a little less in terms of like researching my obsessions than you guys, and that was just or you two. That was a classic example of that happening. Because, like, it
was so perfect.
I did not know exactly what Goose House was. And it was, like, obviously very Googleable because, like, both of you just Googled it and were, like, telling me about it. Like, I could have looked it up.
But it was perfect. It was like, yeah, I wouldn't have had it any other way. Because it just... I just think about it all the time.
I wouldn't have ended up on their website, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. A new era that spreads each small wing and cannot be reached with one small wing. Like, that's just the quote of my life. Yeah. All right, that's Ben. Moving on to Hannah. Making It, obviously, was great. And I just wanted to note that, I wanted to note two things about that. I know I mentioned that up front, but two things I meant to say was that we watched it by downloading, or by, like, we used our Roku TV and we got the NBC app, which is free, and we didn't need to create an account. We were just able to watch it, but we did have to watch it with commercials, which we're not used to. Mm-hmm. And there's this recurring commercial for a constipation medicine, and their, like, tagline is that it relieves constipation without anyone knowing. And we're like, Isn't that like baseline? Like, isn't that like the baseline expectation? Relieves your constipation without anyone knowing. It's like, if you know, like, why would you buy a constipation medicine that people knew you were using? It's like, please get off my sofa.
Is it like the packaging is discreet? Like, what is it?
I don't know. I guess I really don't care to know. I don't want to be in a position where I have to find out. So that's one I would have literally never watched. Like, the level of, like, I would have probably seen a commercial for it and been like, okay, whatever, you know, because I don't watch Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec. Don't judge me.
Judging you.
One day. I had I had to, like, download a whole thing, like, and watch commercials. Like, I wouldn't have done it, but it's so worth it. Except I feel like none of them should go home. That's my only issue. Yeah. Like, they
I also feel like sometimes the edit is a little bit obvious. Like, a lot of the times I've been able to tell who's going to go home pretty easily.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Bummer.
But, you know, just so you know, basically Nick Offerman and Amy Poehler are like exactly the same on Parks and Rec. They're just as lovable and have almost the same sort of dynamic with each other. And so, if you like their dynamic on this show,
season, it's just a terrible collision between, like, me feeling like I really need to watch it in order from the beginning, and season one not being very interesting.
Season one's so bad. You really can skip it.
Skip it. Yeah.
You can one of the main things in season one is the like sexual tension between Leslie and Mark Brandanowitz.
Who
is the worst character, and I think they realize that, and then he leaves and is never relevant again.
Yeah, he's not.
Yeah. Okay, noted.
I'm sure we've told you all that before.
Yeah.
I could go on for days about Mark Brandanowitz and how useless he is as a character.
Let's skip season one next time.
Okay.
Another good one from Hannah was I'll Be Gone in the Dark. Totally then, like, downloaded that audiobook and listened to it and was spooked the frick out. That's from episode 32.
And that was like less than a month before the Golden State Killer got caught too, which was cool.
Yeah, that was a crazy stretch of episodes because it was like, first I talked about that. First, at some point we talked about Annihilation. Then we talked about that book. Then you read it, Aaron, and you had that great story with the vacuum cleaner because of it, sort of. And then, like, the week after the China week, we
caught the Golden State Killer.
They found the killer, yeah.
Yeah.
They arrested him.
Yeah, that was fucking insane. That was so cool. Wouldn't have that vein of excitement wouldn't have been in my life at all. Right. Janelle brought that to the table. Janelle Monáe was one on my list. Episode 28. Obviously a really big moment for us all.
Yeah.
Patton Oswalt's Annihilation is also on my list for you.
Nice.
Episode 8.
Nice.
For that one. For all the reasons that Ben enumerated. I also wanted to shout out for all your kind of avant-garde obsessions. I loved the Ella Enchanted Desserts miniseries from episode 39. That actually encouraged me to read Ella Enchanted again, and I loved it again, just like
so
with a renewed appreciation, like my own adult opinions of it. It's really well written. It's a beautiful book.
Yeah.
Except she's too young.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
There.
They don't make a big deal
Also,
out of it, but yeah, if you just like think about it, she's too young.
Could have been a little
Yeah.
older. To get engaged,
Yeah.
I know he's a great guy, but just,
Right.
pump the brakes. Let's pump the
Right.
brakes.
Come on, Char.
I also liked your I liked your Hot Fuzz concept album.
I was off the rails. That was so crazy.
That was really
Oh yeah, I like that too. I meant to give that an
that's-
honorable mention too. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
honorable
guys.
mention. That was fun.
Thanks.
I also like the questionables, the hypotheticals. That's the one.
Hypotheticals.
Yeah, we should do a couple more
We
of those
should.
if we're feeling like we're gonna have a slow week.
Yeah, that's a good point because we do have those. This is a little bit of a sort of preview of some of the comments that I got for next week. But one thing that this is sort of really bringing home for me, all of this talk about all these different ones, and Aaron, you bringing up like some of the more sort of diverse topics that we've discussed, just by way of like types of things, is that one thing that I've gotten as feedback from listeners that I know is that we despite having being from the same family and all actually kind of looking sort of alike and having similar sense of humor, like we are very different in terms of our interests. And I think we all make a conscious effort to bring like a range of things to the table and not just like get too stuck in a rut. And I think that is something that I really appreciate about like keeping things fresh for ourselves. And I think it's something that I've heard that our listeners also appreciate. So I want to give a big shout out to all of us for keeping it fresh.
A fresh tent for a new podcast.
That's a deep cut.
Shout in to us.
Cool.
Well, great.
It's good.
I think
we did it good.
We've done the special. Our obsession this week was our own
Podcast.
freaking podcast.
It was a little masturbatory, but I liked it.
Oh my. Well, who doesn't love anything that's masturbatory? That's the point. The point is that you like it.
Self-love. And Aaron, I've said it before to you and about you, Aaron, but I appreciate how
much I masturbate.
Huh?
Please, nothing. What?
I appreciate how many female artists of different types you've brought to the show, how many artists of color, how many queer artists and queer content producers and stuff. And I think that sort of also broadened my horizons and made me think about how I'm consuming media differently. And that's another sort of broader outcome of doing this podcast that I really appreciate. So,
well, thanks.
Yeah,
friend.
I don't know that I would have ever gotten into Three Swings if it hadn't been for this podcast. Even though that was my obsession, but you two had talked about Rhea Butcher and Cameron Esposito on several occasions, who are I've heard both of them on other podcasts before, and I've always found them funny, but have never like actively seeked out their material. And then we talked again about Three Swings before it was my obsession, which is something I'd heard of before, but again had never really like gotten into it. And I actually just finished. I caught up on all the latest episodes, including the one that came out just a couple days ago. It's just out of this world good. Just so, just amazing. Just a really,
awesome. I didn't
really
realize there was a
fine
new
podcast.
and a fine podcast creator.
Absolutely.
All right, so I don't know. Let's see. Maybe, unless you guys have specific homework you want to give, I was thinking maybe we could give just blanket homework of send us anything that you have thought about while you're listening to this that you as the listener really liked that we did. Like, we've been soliciting it for a few weeks already, but the lines are still open for it. And if I can find it real quick, we actually do have a phone number that I created that you could leave a message if you want us to play some audio from you of what you have. Like, it doesn't have to be about us. We're not like trying to get you to like,
talk about how good we are.
Yeah.
Well, if you have an obsession,
we want to know, like, what are the things that you discovered from this podcast, or the things that you've enjoyed the most, that were outcomes of the podcast. It doesn't have to be about us. You don't have to be super nice to us. You can be like, listen, you guys are really annoying, but you did say this one thing I like.
I want to hear only good things about us, me especially. That's what I want from the listeners.
I just realized we're in this terrible trap because we have no standard way to end the episode because you don't have a podcast candle and we don't have obsession. We don't have homework to give.
We can give our Twitters.
Do our normal
No, I have to give the phone number though. Hang on.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Hannah.
There's nothing to ground us.
Why don't we give our Twitters while you look for it?
Okay, do it.
My Twitter is AnyDiscoGreg. I talk about baseball and post pictures of my cat. He's so cute. Baseball's a great sport. That's it. That's my only homework.
That's it.
Follow.
I found it.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Okay, but it's good.
Your turn. I found it too.
Okay, great. It's my turn to give homework. So my Twitter is @Anthropology. If you want to call WayTooBroad, leave us a message that we'll play on the episode next week. You have probably until like the evening of the 30th of August in 2018 to send us audio in order to make the cut for us to play it on the show. And then even if you get it after that, if you get it before like next Saturday, you get it in, then I might be able to throw it in at the beginning or the end or whatever. So just call us and we'll use it eventually, no matter what. Yeah. So our phone number is 774-326-0420.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, Blaze.
Oh, Blaze.
Praise the Blaze. So
I wish it was 420, 420, 69, 69. But sometimes dreams don't come true.
Don't we all? Yeah, I know. Sorry. I tried. So yeah, call us and go to our website if you want to be remembered of all of our different topics. You can do it there. And also you can find all the rest of our contact information. You should also check out So Dreamy. That's the other homework thing. It's a podcast about dreams that I do with another one of our wonderful cousins, who my parents are going to see later this week. Fun fact. Ben.
What?
Nope.
False.
Aaron.
Fucking nope. Okay. My Twitter is @Byrne. I review lesbian movies at LesbianMovieReviews. Download the Hoopla app and get your library on. I'm probably going to renew my Audible membership also because just the selection, there's some things I want to read on Audible that just aren't on the Hoopla app, but still download it.
Janelle Monáe's an artist. B. Steadwell's an artist.
B. Steadwell is an artist. I think that's it.
Great. Listen, thanks everybody for listening to this. Thanks, Aaron and Ben, for being great co-hosts. And
thanks you for being a great co-host.
Here's to another 50 years.
Cheers.
Bye. Forever.
podcast candle that we don't have, but that is always flaming forever in our hearts. It's
over.
It's over. Poetic, right? Until I realized what I was saying.